Spring is just around the corner and it's time to get our hands dirty. In today's video, I'm sharing essential tips for starting lettuce, celery, and sweet potatoes at home to get a jump on the season. Whether you're a first-time gardener or a seasoned pro, I've got something for you to learn to prepare your garden for a bountiful spring.
So we're coming to the end of February, beginning of March, and this is the time when I like to get these raised beds planted and ready and started with lettuce, with beets, sometimes radishes, it depends, because these are cold hardy crops. They don't mind if it gets a little frosty for them. But in addition to that, we also have these window attachments, so it can create like a greenhouse effect and we get things to grow really well. It creates this greenhouse effect and it warms it up in there in the daytime. So what we're doing now is we are prepping these beds for planting. We just sifted some compost from over there by the chicken house, and we're also going to be adding in some potting mix. Last year this bed didn't do so well, and we have some suspicions it's the soil is kind of depleted, or maybe it got baked too much in the summertime. So we're just going to prep this bed and get it going. So we're just going to stir in this compost. We're not adding too much because too much compost is going to have the opposite effect from what you want. So just kind of stirring this in, and then we're going to put the potting soil kind of on top. Hopefully this solves our raised bed problem we were having last year. So we've tried a couple lettuce varieties, and one we've really come to like is one called Sierra. One of the reasons we like it so much is it prefers the colder temperatures. So it's a great season extender, like lettuce to grow. But what we also love is this is a cut and go variety. So we can harvest it and keep coming back and harvesting more, and it actually keeps the plant from bolting. Something else we really like about this variety is it's slow to bolt. So I'm just going to be pretty generous and plant this kind of thick. You can always thin them out. The thing about raising lettuce, depending on the climate you're in, is that in the summertime it will get really hot and it'll turn bitter on you. And something we discovered a couple years ago is that if you actually plant baby plants, the baby plants won't be bitter. So anyway, I'm just going to kind of gently cover these with soil. These seeds are super small. They don't really need to be deep. To feed our family, I try to have about a dozen heads of lettuce that I can cut and come back to. Not them all out of kale seed, but I wanted to get this used up. You know, coming out of the winter, we really miss our greens. So we're looking forward to having some fresh lettuce again. Now we're going to go inside and we're going to select some sweet potatoes to start sprouting and get our celery started as well. So moving forward, every couple of weeks, we're going to be starting some other new kind of seed. So we're going to go here. This is our root cellar, and we're going to pick out some potatoes to sprout. So what we're looking for when we're wanting to sprout sweet potatoes is we're looking for a couple of things. We're looking for a potato that's still in good condition, and we're looking for a specific kind of size that would fit within a jar. So we aren't going to be using our biggest to sprout. because honestly, potatoes this big are actually a little unhandy. You might think bigger would be better in this case, but it's not. They're harder to cut. They're just kind of more of a pain. You can't just bake them to eat them. So we're going to pick out about 3 sweet potatoes here to go ahead and get sprouting on our windowsill. And so far I've selected these 2 for their size. They're still in good shape. And I think this one we actually broke off. I think it had another part. This sweet potato crop, it didn't do as well for us last year in the drought year. We were thankful for everything we got, but for the first time in several years, we're actually seeing a lot of rot on these. And I think it was just due to the drought conditions. We've never had this problem before. I don't think it's disease or anything, but nonetheless, we're not picking a diseased or rotten potato to start from. Okay, so we've got some wide mouth jars here, and we're just going to basically fill them up with water. So that a portion of the potato is submerged, just like that. And it's gonna live on my windowsill for the next few months as we await spring. It's really just that simple. This is the way that was taught to me by my mother-in-law. Okay, so my pods have hydrated. They started from this, and now they're fully expanded, so that we're ready to plant and get our celery seeds started. So this variety of celery I really like. When I told people I was starting to raise celery, I got so many like odd responses to this. A lot of people warn me, oh, celery's so hard, oh, celery's so this, celery's so that. And I didn't listen to them. I purposely chose this variety based off of what the catalog told me about it. And what I love about this variety is it's self-blanching, meaning it doesn't need any special treatment out in my garden, which is really nice because I don't have time to keep track of such things. So I'm just carefully taking one seed, if I can, at a time into each of these pods. I'm hoping to have about 20 celery seeds to make it into the garden this year. Celery is painfully fragile as seedlings. So as much as possible, I am trying to just get one per thing because you don't really want to try separating your celery because it won't like it and it will die. And that's what I had happen a lot last year. So what happens if I do get an extra seed in there, because these seeds are so tiny, and I don't know. See how tiny they are. Any extras, I'm just going to pinch off so that we have one strong, healthy plant per pod. And hopefully this year I will have a higher amount make it into the garden than I did last year. So what we're going to do is we are going to cover this. I've got my warming mat on, and this is just going to keep that moisture locked in while we wait for them to germinate. We have these lights on an automatic timer, so they turn on and off on their own, giving about, I think, 10 or 12 hours of sunlight. So next week, we'll be back down here starting something else. I think it's tomatoes next. Tomatoes and loofah seeds. I'm really excited to try loofah. I did a whole video on how to plan your garden. I'll drop the link above.
Comment below what seeds you're starting, and thanks for watching.